Good morning, Max.
Oh, yes, good morning, sweeties.
You don't seem like your usual sparkly self today.
I'm always like this before I go in front of an audience. I'm working up to it.
Was he testifying today? Testifying. Testify. Tee. Don't get nervous, Maxie. Here, have a glass of milk. Regina.
How fabulous, my sweetie pie princess. You came to watch my performance today?
Of course I did. Mo told me I should come and watch this. Mo said that? So what kind of performance will you put on today? Let me guess, you'll fly at the end.
It's not that kind of show. Isn't that right, my sweeties?
Huh?
I think my sweetie pie princess doesn't.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to realize what's going on, or even where she is. Well, Max, it looks like it's time to raise the curtain. I'll see you later. Today I'm just a member of the audience.
Fabulous. Enjoy yourself out there.
Good luck, Max. You're the best.
You're the best around.
Regina's different, don't you think, Nick? Top of the morning to ya. Everybody, let's get ready to stuck in legal limbo. How low can you go? Mo? Top of the morning to ya, governor. Top of the morning. That's the ticket. Attacking the day starts with the energy in the morning. Early bird gets the worm, but then again, worms lack higher brain function. Oh, here, Max, I brought you a present. Have some milk.
Oh my, thanks.
So, how are you today, right? Well, I've got the feeling today I'm going to face off against the real culprit. You mean Acro? Huh? You think he did it? Be careful. He used to putting his life on the line, literally. He's got guts to spare. And he's probably got the upper body strength to fly off to his third floor apartment, you know, with some sort of mechanism to, like, gym equipment. Like, he's got that, you know, man without hair's upper body, you know, styling, you know? All I've got to worry about is how thin the tightrope is. I'm used to it already. It's true, you're incredibly fit, yeah. It just means that I won't be able to press him like I can other witnesses. What are you going to do then, Nick? I guess today we'll just have to do with our usual psychological warfare. Today we rely on evidence. It's the only way we'll get past Acro and to the truth. You're right, but it's going to be tough. Yeah, but you could bring Mia in, and then you won't have to witness it. Anyways, I want to make sure Regina sees all today. It's important. And she'll finally have to deal with the reality of what happened to her father. You want us to make sure Regina watches? Yes. That's why I brought her here to court today.
What's that supposed to mean?
She needs to know that when people die, they don't just become stars. I may be an old-fashioned clown, but I don't believe people becoming stars. Rumble, 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 rumble. Court is now in session for the trial of Maximilian Galactica. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Very well, Miss Von Karma. You may proceed with your case. The prosecution would like to revise the previous theory of events. What's the meaning of this? We've discovered a new witness, or shall I say, a new eyewitness. One that saw Maximilian Galactica fly off from the scene of the crime. Order, order. I had a feeling something like this would come up. Due to this revision, we are now prepared to explain how the defendant flew that night. An explanation the prosecution will present if the need so arises.
In fact, my detective stayed up all night creating a mock-up of the scene on my orders. Oh, poor Gumshoe.
Very well. Please call your witness to the stand.
Time to get to work. Or shall I say, time to walk the courtroom tightrope. Name and occupation.
Ken Dinglin, but everyone calls me Acro. I'm employed as an acrobat at the Berry Big Circus.
Where were you the night of the crime?
I was in my room that night. If you look at the map, you will see the witness room is near the crime.
Oh, that's her. If you look at the map, you will see the witness room is near the crime scene. Yeah, on the 3rd floor.
My room is on the 3rd floor. The crime scene is below my window.
The night of the crime, the witness saw something quite shocking. Would you tell us what you witnessed?
Okay. It was just after 10 p.m. and I was resting in my bed. Around that time I heard a large thump noise from outside the window. Then a few moments later I saw someone flying right by my window. It was Max Galactica. I only saw him from behind, but that's who it looked like. To be honest, when I saw that I thought I was dreaming. This witness testimony matches up exactly with that of the clown.
If that's the case, there is very little the prosecution need add. All that's left is to explain how the defendant disappeared into the sky that night. Hold it! Before we get that far, I'd like to cross-examine the witness. A foolish choice by a foolish fool who wishes to feel the foolish sadness of a sad fool. A man must know the proper timing for things, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Just like your old friend, Mr. Miles Edgelord did. That's irrelevant. Low blow. Bitch.
Mr. Wright, do you have a problem with the witness testimony?
In the words of Miss Von Karma, may I quote yesterday's proceedings? There's no way that actually happened.
Very well. You may proceed with your cross-examination.
What I witnessed. It's just after 10 p.m. I was resting in bed. Heard thump. Saw someone flying right by the window. The light in your room was turned off then, right?
That's true. I was going to bed after all.
So with the lights off, you were still able to clearly see human fly by your window. To be fair, you're more likely to see someone fly by your window with your light off. With your light on, you're just going to get a reflection from outside. Because it's dark outside, so you're going to get a reflection which will just show inside your room. Yeah, your inside light's not lighting up the outside world to see this dude. Unless there is no window. These guys live in a pretty crappy place, there could be no window there.
The safety light lit things up enough for me to see. But honestly, there was only enough light for me to see the silhouette outside my window. It was the person's back, so I couldn't see the white roses on the front. Did you see any of the other symbols? I clearly saw the silk hat, as well as the cloak wrapped around his body. I'm convinced that the person I saw was Max Galactica.
Oops. Too fast. Oh well. There is a contradiction. There is a huge contradiction with the testimony that was just given. And very similar to the clown's one, it's the hat again.
Objection!
If there's a contradiction, then prove it with evidence. She's right. Let's see some evidence. You have any evidence to support your claim? The exact same as, yeah, the clown. He said, oh, I saw him fly off with his hat on. How did you... And then someone else, I saw him fly off with his hat on. We've already determined his hat was on the ground.
Take that!
You wait till Von Karma does this flirty. She, like, leans on the desk and puts her hand there, and she's like, oh, that Phoenix. Oh, those big hands. You know? It was very cutesy. You claim to have seen the exact same thing Mo saw that night. That's what I said. Do you stand by that? What do you mean? The silk hat. What about the silk hat? I saw it on Max's head as he flew by my window. Yeah, he can really knead a biscuit. Fold a taco, whatever you want to say, you know. Well, you should have tried looking down out of your window that night. That would have been quite difficult considering the state that I'm in. Just looking outside the window was tough enough challenge for me. That's a shame because you would have noticed that the silk hat found on the scene. That's the ringmaster's hat, right? Oh. Afraid not. No matter how you look at it, this is Max's silk hat. Where are you going with this, Mr. Wright? You saying that Max has 2 silk hats? No, this is a handmade one-of-a-kind model made only for Maximilian Galactica. Which means, Acro, that you've been fibbing on the stand. Order, order!
Objection!
This one here. As always, Phoenix is so dreamy. Phoenix. Looks like someone just had to open their mouth before thinking. You okay, Nick? Well, I opened my big mouth and now I have to back it up. How about it, Mr. Wright? What would cause this witness to commit perjury in this court today? He's the real culprit? We can't go for a grudge against Max. Because I don't think he cares about Max. Dreaming is just dumb, so we're gonna have to accuse him. Maybe he is the real culprit. That'd be silly, yeah. You blame his physique? Yeah, I mean, like... he could have totally, like, dropped down and thunked him and then flown out of there. Think about, too, if he descended by some sort of wire harness from his room, that would explain the no footprints. On this occasion, the defense accuses Acro himself. On this occasion? Accuses Acro? What in the world are you accusing him of? Obviously, we accuse him of the murder of Mr. Russell Berry. Mr. Wright, are you serious? Deadly serious, Your Honor. Dreamy Phoenix. I think your trips to the circus have served you well. You seem to have learned how to try and grab at an audience's heart and minds. Your Honor, don't allow yourself to be swayed by theatrics. Trying to wow the crowd with smoke and mirrors is the oldest bluff in the book. Really? Oh, this is news to me. Did somebody bring me lunch? If you don't believe me, just look at the witness. He's calm enough for it to almost be scary. He is staying rather calm and collected. Mr. Dingling, do you have any response to the defendant's accusations? I don't really need to say a thing, do I? What do you mean? Everyone, take a good look at me. I can't even stand up by myself, let alone leave the lodging house. That's true. I understand that Mr. Wright is just trying to help his client. But to do this by accusing me of a murder of all things. See, even a sliver of common sense makes it clear the accusation is ludicrous. She's right. Way to pick on the disabled, you heartless, cruel man. Phoenix is a poopy head. See that, dreamy Phoenix? If you're trying to drum up support from the peanut gallery, that's how you do it. I think that's enough of this little game. I've got a doctor's note to confirm that Acro is unable to stand under his own power. Maybe the defense is planning on making a claim to the counter to this as well. I can hear the defense now. Acro had an accomplice. What do you say about this, Mr. Wright? Did Acro have an accomplice? No. Now this must be when we get to hear the name of the mystery accomplice. I said he didn't have one. Not this time, Von Karma. What? You're not going to sucker me into this one. What are you blabbering about, Mr. Wright? There was no accomplice. Acro planned and committed this murder all by himself. Man, Phoenix gave the end away. Order! Order! What are you getting at? Way to keep them on their toes, Nick. Now I'm going to have to prove how it all fits together. I have to show how Acro murdered Russell Berry. Can you do it, Nick? Can you really do that? I know what I can't do. I can't stop now. If I stop attacking, I'm doomed. Alright, then let's do it. What do you... Can you summon Mia first? Then let's do it. Mr. Phoenix Wright. If this witness is the killer, then his eyewitness account is all lies, right? Mr. Wright, I'd like you to clear something up for me. When the crime was committed, exactly where was Mr. Dingling? Well, he would have been where the murder took place, right? Which is down in the courtyard. I wonder if they... Oh... He dropped it on him.
Take that!
He's obviously here the entire time. That's Acro's room. It's the bust. He dressed up the bust and he dropped that on him from his room. And then all he had to do was lift the bust back up with and the bust had a hat and a coat on, which made it look like it was flying away, which was why there was no footprints. And he dropped it on the dude when he bent over to look in the crate. And maybe it was the father that put the pepper on the bandana because he didn't want his daughter marrying the brother? I don't know. Acro wasn't able to leave the lodging by himself. In that case, there can only be one correct answer. Acro didn't leave his room to kill the ringmaster. What? Are you nuts? What say you, Mr. Dingling? That's an interesting theory. That's it. Considering that what you proposed is impossible, yes, that's it. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. As witnesses stated, your assertion is impossible. As he is in a wheelchair, there is no way he could go to the scene or be the killer.
Get in here!
You've got a point. Kylie Buggs, thanks so much for the raid. Welcome, everyone. We're just hopefully wrapping up, what have we got? Turnabout Big Top. Good old Phoenix Wright. Yeah, welcome Raiders. You've got a point. Oh, look, she's doing the Dreamy Phoenix. You've forgotten once again, Dreamy Phoenix. The defendant was clearly spotted at the scene of the crime. That's true. I think we worked it out, though. I'm going with he dropped I'm going that this is the bust that's been dressed up and he dropped it out of his window onto him. And it's attached with the string harnesses and he pulled it back up. Thus making it look like it fly and why there's no footprints. Which I think is more realistic than he hooked on the Batman thing himself and flew down and donked him and then pulled himself back up. Which was the original, probably far too out there scenario that we come up with. Mo said he saw Max, didn't he? But Maya, it's still impossible for humans to fly. Do you mind if I ask a question, Mr. Wright? What is it? I understand some of your logic. However, how do you think that I killed him? If I can't leave my room, I obviously couldn't wear Max's costume. How did he do it? That's the next course of this legal buffet. Be careful, Nick. If you mess up here... She's right. I can't mess up. I've got to give this one some serious thought. I'm sure that Acro killed the Ringmaster. I'm still not sure about why. It has to be the pepper. The Ringmaster must have peppered the bandana thing. And he did it while he was in his room. No doubt about it. Time to enlighten us how Mr. Dingling committed the crime, Mr. Wright. Have we got... Okay, we do. I'm going to present some evidence. What did Mr. Dingling use to commit the crime of murder against Russell Berry? Max G bust. Let's do it.
Take that!
What's that? A picture? It's what the picture is of, Judge. She didn't kill him with a photo. It is indeed. The problem is the items shown in the picture. The bust. It's quite a large bust. And because it is life-size, it is also very, very heavy. Heavy. Heavy enough to guarantee a certain death. Especially if it was dropped from a third-story window. Take that. Ah! Are we going to get an angry face from him? See, this is how Acro was able to kill the Ringmaster. With the force of gravity and a Maximilian Galactica's ample bust. Sorry, it just... You know, it has other potential meanings. Order, order. So you're saying the bust fell onto the Ringmaster. A rather simple crime. Even if you were stuck in a wheelchair, it wouldn't be incredibly hard to... Even if you were stuck in a wheelchair, it would be incredibly easy to commit.
Objection!
How could you possibly wheel a wheelchair with something so heavy? It's impossible. Dude, have you seen? This guy lifts.
Objection!
Well, Acro is an acrobat. He shouldn't have more than he should have more than enough upper body strength to carry something like the bust. Mr. Dingling, how do you respond to these charges? Well, Acro's at a loss for words. That's good for us, right? He should be. He knows that I'm getting close to the truth. Well, Acro. You can... Ow! I'd watch what I say if I were you, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What? Your Honor, the physical health of the witness is material to this case. I demand that we get proper testimony from the witness himself.
Testimony, you say?
Come on. He's just using his testimony as a ruse to stall for time.
Objection!
There's absolutely no need for such testimony.
Objection!
The defense has its version of the murder. The prosecution has the right to respond.
The defense's objection is overruled.
Why can't he see things my way once in a while?
Mom! Dad's picking favorites again. Mr. Dingling, I'm sorry, but we need you to testify about your physical condition. If you have any doubts about your ability to testify, we can request expert testimony.
Oh, Phoenix is so dreamy. The witness will have no problems, however. Let's all be respectful towards him. Dreamy Phoenix.
Thank you. That woman will sink to any low to win a case.
Accurate on his physical state.
I suppose I could have lifted something the size of that bust. I have a strong upper body from working as an acrobat, and only my legs were injured. However, lifting the bust and looking out the window would have been impossible. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. It makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the ringmaster's head.
Oh, let's skip it. Thus something. We'll see it in a repeat.
I have no doubts with regards to this witness testimony.
It was impossible for him to lift the bust and stick himself out far enough to look, Dreamy Phoenix. Not to mention he could not have known the location of the ringmaster's head. Single false step would have led to even more severe injuries.
That's what I was thinking. What's your opinion on the matter, Mr. Wright?
We need to cross-examine.
I'd still like to proceed with my cross-examination.
Nice. He's simply stalling. And simply stunning. Yeah, stop flirting with us. It's shameful, really.
Can't let her get to me. I've got to focus.
Come on, Phoenix, suck it up, mate. Okay, accurate on his physical state. Okay, well, we'll get to see this last one that I missed. He's got the upper body strength. We're not... Yeah, using the whip. Lifting the bust, looking out the window would have been impossible. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. Makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the ringmaster's head. This would be unrealistic for me to drop the bust on him, don't you think? Okay, so this sentence is the same as this sentence, pretty much. Except he knows exactly where the head is because he put the box there specifically to know where he's looking.
Hold it!
How do you say it would be impossible?
Allow me to explain.
You accept that if I was carrying the bust, I couldn't see out below the window. Thus, there is no way that I would know the location of the ringmaster's head. I suppose you've got a point. Yeah, but if the bust is already suspended in the air, all he has to do is be looking out the window.
Hey, Nick.
Huh? What if you turn things around? Maybe you think of sort of like this. If he knew the location of the ringmaster's head, then he could drop the bust. Yeah. If only I could prove it somehow. It's the box. But Acro knew the location where I said without looking down. A box hitting the ground? It's got nothing to do with the box hitting the ground. The box was placed on the ground before the murder. It's being used as, and it's not hiding a thump. It's there to as a marker, for like a positional marker.
Objection!
Acro, you didn't really need to lean out of the window, did you? What are you driving at, Mr. Wright? You already knew ahead of time where the ringmaster's head was going to be. Quite precisely, I may add.
Objection!
Your silly hinting at things is pointless, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Enough stalling. How about you show us some evidence? But I did such a good job hinting. Yes. Hurry up and explain things, Mr. Wright. Maybe you should take a look at this. Can this dude speak with animals? Maybe. The key point here is the wooden box. The same wooden box the victim was found hunched over. Oh, it's the judge. The same wooden box the victim was found hunched over. The same. The question is, who placed the wooden box here? Who? When Ben and company saw the ringmaster, they didn't see him holding the box. Which means that this wooden box was already placed at the scene of the crime. I have to admit that your theory makes a lot of sense. I am an idiot though, so I'll believe anything you say. The moment that the bust came falling down was exactly the same moment that the ringmaster lifted up this wooden box. Oh, he didn't even need to push it. It could have been like set up like a trap, so that as soon as he picked it up, it just like fell off, right? This means that the answer to all these questions is now crystal clear. You mean? If the bust were to fall upon the point marked out by the wooden box, there would be no way that it could miss the head of the victim. No! That's okay. When you lose this case, next time you'll just disregard this one and you'll still be have a perfect record. Did you guys know that? If you just don't count any losses that you have, you are undefeated. Apparently that's how things work. Just say it doesn't count. Order. This is unbelievable. Finally, some of these loose ends are starting to tie themselves up. Now I just gotta keep going. And there's only one way to go from here. Forward. So the next question I have is, who placed that wooden box at the scene? It was Mr. Dingling, of course. He connected it to a rope, and all he had to do was lower it down. Allow me to whip some sense into you, Mr. Phoenix Wright. The ringmaster's head could have been anywhere when he lifted the box. No, I'm pretty sure it would have to be within an arm's length from the heavy box, which he would have had to hold really close to his body to lift it. That's why the box was so specially made. Specially made? Indeed. It had the most peculiar feature. The contents of the box. I mean, the contents of the box didn't matter because they couldn't open it, so it's not nice of a thing. It's got to be the weight. Right? Because you can find size box like that. But the idea is heavy is so that someone has to get really close to it to lift it up. Size is a little bit of it as well. The box has a remarkable weight. Weight? According to the court record, it weighs 20 pounds. Just to lift up this wooden box, it would have required... Oh, I see. The judge gets it. One would have to squat down, then lift up with their body, wouldn't you say? That's exactly what I was trying to point out. The box is also very large. The box also has carrying handles on either side, doesn't it? That is correct. To lift up the box, you'd have to squat down. which means that no matter who you are, your head would be in this approximately the same place. Yeah, right over the top of the box. Fool! Dude, he is just so calm. Does he even bother to listen? No. I've heard what you had to say. I must admit I'm shocked at your imaginative skills.
You. Did you do it? Did you place this wooden box in the plaza?
Just ask him straight up, did you kill the dude? And when he says no, you'll be like, okay, you can go. Like he'd be like, yeah, I did it.
Mr. Wright may have a vivid imagination, but I could never have done what he is proposing.
What?
Mr. Wright, do you recall the original location of Max's bust?
Yeah, I remember. Of course I remember. It's on top of the table in the cafeteria.
Then what happened to it? I'd like to remember one important fact, Mr. Wright. I could not possibly leave the lodging house by myself.
That means...
You understand what I mean, don't you? I may very well have been able to drop the bust from my room. However, how would I have gotten the bust from the cafeteria to my room?
Monkey. You see, Mr. Phoenix Wright, explain that. Don't forget, you said there was no accomplice. Does a monkey... The monkey doesn't count as an accomplice, right? Tell us exactly how the witness would have carried the bust from the cafeteria. And the monkey only has to drag it along the ground and put it through a loop of rope that's been lowered. Yep, we definitely have a problem here. No, we don't, Phoenix. We got you covered, man. This is no place to get perplexed. I've got to get my wits about me and prove how things happened once and for all. Is this it, boys? Is he going to get stressed enough that Mia's going to make a showing? Or do we go Mia-less the whole episode? If we do, then it's officially worst episode ever.
Alright, Mr. Wright, let's hear your explanation. How did the witness get the bus from the cafeteria back to his room?
Take that!
A monkey.
Everyone knows money. He loves shiny objects of any size.
Oh, like when he stole the ventriloquist ring.
Ah, dreamy Phoenix. You're saying the witness had a monkey steal the bust?
Of course he didn't order the monkey to steal it. The monkey stole it on his own and then brought it back home. Home?
Money lives in Acro's room.
Acro's room?
That's where Acro lives.
Objection!
But the bust was bronze, wasn't it? Bronze isn't all that shiny.
Objection!
Maybe you should put the whip down sometimes and read the court record.
My, those are some very nice cards he's holding.
Yes, and they are made of platinum, which is very shiny. Acro. Money is a strong monkey, right? It'd be easy for him to bring the bus back to your room.
If he wasn't able to handle that himself, I'd be on the market for a new roommate. Order, order! I said order! Miss Von Karma. Where is the bust in the question at this moment?
I don't know. We're searching for it as we speak.
This is a rather strange turn of events. But let's say that the monkey had not stolen the bust. What would have happened then?
Well, in that event, something else would have been used as the murder weapon. Wait. And you mean this bust was the murder weapon purely by accident? It's possible. Maybe Acro saw Money's mountain of stolen goods and thought to use one of them. No, I think it's more that he saw this one and went, I'm gonna kill someone. I don't know. He brought a tuber up? I wonder how the weight compares, like, because it's a full bronze, like a solid bronze bust. Tuber's got a lot of brass in it. Very big. I mean, a lot of air as well. He'd be close. Anyways, I think we've got more than proven one critical fact. Namely that it was entirely possible that Acro was the murderer. Moron. Mr. Wright's argument was so circular, I'm still a bit dizzy. However, his argument does hold water. There's no denying that. Ow! Don't seem so flamboozled, especially by this fraud of an attorney. Fraud. You've forgotten the absolute most important thing, Mr. Phoenix Wright. And what is that? You should know. You forgot that your fraud of a magical client was spotted at the scene of the crime. There's no reason to doubt the clown's testimony. That's true. How do you respond to that, Mr. Wright? Nick, don't let it beat you now. I won't. This is my chance to turn this trial around. When the murder occurred, there were two people at the scene of the crime. One was the victim, Russell Berry, and the other was the murderer himself. Answer this and only this, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Who was the murderer the clown saw? What's the bust? It's got to just be, it's the bust.
Take that!
I asked who the other person most saw on the scene. It wasn't a person. The bust was wearing a cape. Maybe? Hang on. Who was the other person most saw on the scene? Evidence has nothing to do with the question.
Objection!
Au contraire, mon frère. It does indeed have something to do with the question. Mo said he saw Smax's silhouette. He did not actually see the man himself. It wasn't a human being he saw. How is that possible? It's simple, really. What Mo actually saw that night was Max's bust.
Objection!
What are you talking about? You tried using your brain at all in this case? The silhouette he saw was wearing a cloak.
Objection!
There's no reason why you couldn't attach a cloak to the bust. It would be easy to hang one off the cards in the buster's hands. And yet, who in their right mind would put a cloak on a bust? Someone who wanted it to look like there was a person? Doesn't matter who put it on the bust. Just wait a minute now, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust? That question is of the utmost importance to this case, don't you agree? Oh, he caught me. Let's have it, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust? Oh. It has to be. Well, it's not so much a put on. It's an accident.
Take that!
Fool? Him? You're saying it was the victim himself? Russell Berry? That's what I'm saying. It's not what you're saying, Phoenix, but... I mean, the victim himself placed the cloak on the bus. Placed is not the correct verb you're looking for here. Ah! Oh, great minds. High five, Phoenix. It's just, place the cloak isn't really the right way of putting it. Then what would be the right way of putting it, Mr. Wright? Explain yourself. So dreamy. Nick, do you really have a handle on all of this? I'm fine, Maya. I'm finally putting all the pieces together. There's really only one picture I can paint anyway. Alright. So you want to know what really happened that night? Let's step back in time. We're going all CSI. Acro used a rope to lower the wooden box onto the scene. Then he attached the rope to the bust, and dangled the bust out of his bedroom window directly above the wooden box. At the same time, the ringmaster told Max to wait in his room and went to the scene. Of course, at the time, the ringmaster was wearing Max's costume. Perhaps he didn't want anyone to recognize him that night. But just as he feared, he was spotted at the entrance of the lodging house by none other than the ventriloquist and his puppet Ben and Trilo. When the ringmaster arrived at the scene, he bent over to lift the wooden box. That's when Acro took his chance and released the rope. Now this is when the magic happens. Oh, nice words. At the very instant the bust hit the victim. Donk. Hat's already off. Hello, Chloe. Would you like a treat? You wait just there, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Come on. Chloe. Come here. Who's my girl? Who's my big girl? Yeah. Would you like a treat? Okay. Did you see the other one? I think that's Pepper's though. Where's Pepper? Did Pepper not want a treat? Oh, you have to. Oh. Look how big you're getting so big. Yeah? Well, don't you chew my hat. Don't you chew my chair. What did chair do to you? Oi? Say bye, chat. You give chat a kiss? Give chat a kiss. Say bye. Looks like I need Acro's workout regime to lift Chloe pretty soon. Yeah, definitely. She'll probably start jumping soon. You saw that video. She's gonna knock me out of my chair. As much as you try, as much as you scheme, this just isn't true. It can't be. So smoldering looking Phoenix. It's still a little early to be getting so upset, Miss Von Karma. This circus isn't over yet. Oh, that's smug. Nice line. What? The impact of the bust on the victim threw the cloak up, which snagged onto the bust. The impact also caused the sound a certain witness heard, prompting him to take a look. That witness was, of course, Lawrence Mo Curls the clown. When Mo looked out his window, the cloak had already snagged onto the bust. Now, having completed the crime, Acro naturally went about pulling up the murder weapon. Of course, he had no idea that Mo saw the bust being raised with the cloak dangling on it. Primarily because in his wheelchair he couldn't see out of his window. So he just kept pulling the bust up. And that is how the magical murderer disappearing into the sky came to be. So you see, the only person who could have pulled this off is the one person who was able to drop the murder weapon from above the crime scene. Acro, it could only have been you. He just doesn't care. Acro's been playing mind games with all of us. Like, she's over it. She's like, what? He sure has, but he has come to the end of his rope now. Oh, that's a bad pun, Phoenix. So, what now? You've graced us with a rather long-winded tale. But do you have any evidence to prove that your fairy tale is true? Evidence? In this court, only two things matter. The power of evidence and the power of my whip. Don't forget the power of my gavel as well. Mr. Wright, the prosecution brings up a good point. Can we see some evidence? Nick, they say they want evidence. I just explained how there can only be one possible murder method. But there is still something unusual about Mo's eyewitness account. Unusual? A contradiction, actually. Okay then, use that and get out of this jam. That's enough talking amongst yourselves. Proceed, Mr. Wright. Present some evidence to the court that backs your claims. You didn't realize the clown is a Three Stooges pun? Larry, Moe, and Curly? Eh. I want hard proof that you have unraveled the trick to this magic case. Yeah, his name is Lawrence Mo Curls, and Larry is short for Lawrence, right? Well, can be. And it also explains the no footprints. It's the hat again. Has to be the hat, right? And the funny thing is, we've twice used the hat to discredit testimony. Now we're using the hat to reapply credit to the testimony we disproved. The problem is Max's three symbols. You know, the silk hat, the cloak, and the white roses. These symbols were problems numerous times during yesterday's proceedings. Yeah, we took advantage of both of those. Yesterday there were two contradictions in Mo's testimony. The silk hat was one, The white roses were the other. But the theory I just presented explains all of these contradictions. You fool, do you ever shut up? Max's silk hat was found at the scene of the crime. However, remember what Mo said yesterday? He testified that the criminal he saw fleeing the scene was wearing a silk hat. There's only one explanation for that. The silk hat that Mo saw was actually the bust's. Makes sense if you look at it that way. Then he did see the silk hat. Well, sort of.
Objection!
Fine, you've got one. But what about the other contradiction? The other contradiction? Remember what the ventriloquist said in court? He said that he witnessed white roses on Max's chest that night. But the clown's testimony doesn't match. The clown said there were no white roses. I'd like to see you try and explain that one away. Can you do it, Nick? Of course I can explain all of it. What was that? Please recall the incident when the cloak snagged onto the bust. If the cloak snagged onto the bust, what happened to the white roses? They get tucked inside. Do you get it yet? The cloak got snagged onto the front of the bust. It means that the white roses would end up on the back of the bust. Which explains why Mo didn't see them. The white roses were not visible because they were on the back side of the bust. Order! Order! This is quite the shocking state of affairs. Mr. Wright's theory still sounds a bit absurd to me. However, let's just keep going down this road for a while and see where it leads. Let's do this, Nick. And maybe Von Karma will finally throw in the towel. Oh, Nick's so dreamy. Well, so much for that theory. Mr. Wright, do you mind? What is it? You took the time to research our circus, didn't you? Well, yes, I did. Is there something making you think that I didn't? If you did, then maybe you'll understand why I think you're off track. Oh, why is that? Motive. This witness feels an incredible debt of gratitude towards the ringmaster. Yeah, that is true. Anyone with relation to the circus is well aware of this. Thus, there is absolutely no way someone like this would kill the ringmaster. Your Honor, I'd like you to hear Acro's story. Learn about his relationship with the ringmaster and his life up until now. What do we do? There's no doubting that Acro deeply respected the ringmaster. Acro's motive, It seems that this case isn't over yet. Very well. However, I feel this is a good place to take a break. I will listen to the rest of Mr. Dingling's testimony after a recess. This court will now take a 10-minute recess.